So I'm Michael Möller. I'm an assistant manager at Cloud Juice. We are a vape store in Centurion.
All right. So Cloud Juice, let's start there. Why the name Cloud Juice? What does it mean?
Well, Cloud Juice is mostly derived from the vape industry because a lot of vape devices, you have a subcategory called cloud chasers, where a lot of people build the devices specifically for a very large amount of clouds. And the juice is actually what makes the clouds themselves, so Cloud Juice.
How do you make it cloud?
So how it works is that inside your device there's a mesh wire that heats up the juice inside of it, and that creates a vapor, which you inhale.
Can I see one of those things?
Yeah, so these are disposable devices. They aren't exactly the same as what I'm talking about, but these have the same concepts. They have a mesh wire inside with juice inside of it. These are just compacted with a battery, everything included. Once you actually open it, it's ready to vape, and then you can throw it away once the juice is finished.
Alright, so it's not refillable?
No, it's not a refillable
So
one.
you don't recycle and use the same thing?
No, so you do get ones that you can reuse, but those are usually on the more expensive side. But these are cheaper options to like cigarettes and such that people actually just want for a weekend or a day out. You buy something like a disposable, and then you can actually just vape it and throw it away once you're finished.
And then how long does one thing or that device last?
So that just depends on the device. So most devices actually tell you the puff counts. They can range anywhere from about 600 puffs to about 21,000 puffs per device. Generally speaking, average is about 5,000 puffs that you can get on a device.
5,000?
Yeah, 5,000 puffs, and that will last you about, let's say, about 3 weeks.
Okay. Do you get it? Maybe an opportunity, or maybe a time where you are overdosing, where you just decided, no, you know what, this is too much for you?
It is possible. So, yeah, if you...
Because the smell is so nice, I thought maybe there's no side effects or anything.
Yeah, no, you do get something called nicotine overdose, which happens if you do too much nicotine at one time. It's not too dangerous to you. It's just includes like feeling nauseous, feeling sick. You might have some vomiting involved, but overall the symptoms do go away very quickly after that. So it's can have severe cases, but generally it's a very mild thing that happens. Yeah.
Addictive?
Nicotine is an addictive substance. Compared to cigarettes, it is a lot safer. So the only things that are inside disposable vapes, vape juice and such, is vegetable glycerin, propylene glycol, and the flavor concentrate, including nicotine as well. You do get ones that actually don't have any nicotine inside of it. So that would just be plain flavor without any nicotine. Yeah, so if you don't want any nicotine inside, you do get options for that.
But are those sold to, is there an age restriction maybe?
Yeah, so depending on the country that you are from, South Africa, we have an 18 plus restriction, so anyone under the age of 18 can't purchase it. Other countries like the United States, there are age restrictions of 21 and over.
Oh, I see. And then the ones that do not contain nicotine, are those sold to underage people maybe?
No, the age restriction stays the same for all devices. So it doesn't matter if it does have nicotine or doesn't have any nicotine in it, it's 18 plus or 21 plus depending where you're from.
Earlier on you were showing me the 3. Where now you are walking around with 3 vapes.
Yes.
So I want you to demonstrate and tell me maybe the difference between them.
Alright, so I showed you earlier, this is the disposable that I have. This is the same as the one I showed earlier with the box. This is the one that you just use and then throw away once you're done. In my pockets here, I'll get here quickly. This would be called a pod device. This actually takes what we call salt nicotine. So they actually crystallize the nicotine into a salt form. So it's very similar looking to salts. And they add it into the juices. So it's a lot more concentrated than on regular juices. This usually comes in strengths ranging from about 25 milligrams, 35 milligrams, and 50 milligrams of nicotine. Generally in your single cigarette that you would find in a box would be containing about 7 milligrams of nicotine. So about a 50 milligram bottle would be equated to about 2 or 3 boxes of actual cigarettes. And then lastly over here I actually have my full device.
And then that is well armed.
Yeah. So this is a mod device. You actually have a removable tank here. I'll show you quickly. So you can actually remove the whole top here and actually change the actual devices that you put on top. So you actually get different brands. Yeah, so you actually refill, so you can take off the top here and actually refill the juice from the top. With this one, you actually replace the coils because that actually will eventually burn out. The same way with the disposable that it does burn out after some time, this actually you can replace it. So you actually are able to reuse it over and over and over again. You just add the juice to the top as I shown you earlier.
So let me see it a bit.
So yeah, that would be the mod device. Generally, you can get kits and devices by themselves, so that would just be a mod or actual full kit, depending on where you go. But most of the time, people can actually get an independent mod and choose whichever tank and whatever they want, so they can customize it to their own preferences.
The thing that fascinates me the most is I want you to demonstrate it. Let me see how you use it.
Yeah, of course. So this one actually has a locking feature. Yeah, no issue.
Oh, so much cloud.
That's why it's a cloud chaser.
So give it to me again. Let me see it.
Or do you want another drag from it? No issue.
Okay. There's so much cloud. And you can't do cool tricks with it.
Yeah, I can. Unfortunately, there's a bit too much wind here today, but in this environment like a studio or something, you can actually do quite a few tricks with it as well.
I want to see maybe a cool trick or something if you can.
Yeah, so I'll try and see if I can try something.
Yeah. And the other one, so it does it get a similar cloud effect?
No, so the disposables, you can get disposables that have a similar cloud. It obviously won't be the exact same because it all is dependent on the coil inside and the airflow. With some disposables, you can actually get a decent amount. When it comes to pod devices like the one I showed you earlier, you don't.
You call them pod devices?
Yeah, because it actually takes pods, so you can actually refill these, but that's why it's a pod device, because you actually take out the full pod from it and you can actually put it back in as well. These are mainly for salts, which actually have a different ratio of the vegetable glycerin and propylene glycol I told you about earlier. That's a very important factor to making clouds. So with salts, it's a 50-50 ratio or a 60-40 ratio. That actually means that it's more flavor than cloud. So you'll taste a lot more in that. With juices like the one that I actually just smoked out of the big one, it's usually a 70-30 or 80-20 ratio of VGPG. That actually helps make a lot more clouds than the flavor. Depending on what device you have, it can have a very good flavor as well still. So you have very nice flavor and big clouds. But generally speaking, with pod devices like these, it's more so your nicotine that you're getting out of it and the flavor from it.
Is it safe to maybe smoke it inside the house?
Yeah, it is actually a lot better than cigarettes because, as you know, with cigarettes, they stick to your hair, stick to your clothes, and the smell just gets everywhere and it's very potent. Even if you're in the next room, you'll actually smell the cigarette smoke from that. With these, as you saw with the actual clouds, they dissipate very, very quickly. And it doesn't stick to any clothes, it doesn't stick to any fabric or anything. So they dissipate very quickly. The smell is also very pleasant depending on what you get, because you can get different flavors like cotton candy, berry flavor, mango, depending on what you are smoking. And it is a lot more enjoyable to myself personally as well to smell something like a cotton candy than tobacco.
So can I use this as your mint for your mouth if in case maybe I have an issue of allergies or something?
I wouldn't say that it would help as much as like a mint, anything like that, because the smell or like anything like that doesn't stay for very long. So if you are vaping something like mints, which I actually do have a vanilla mint in this one, you'll have the taste, and then after a while it'll start going away very quickly. And unlike so like actual mints and everything, they'll last you maybe like a few hours to the whole day. This will only you'll taste it for about only 10 minutes at most.
Okay.
And then you'll have to...
I don't want to disturb you. My last question is the difference between a vape, this one, and an orca pipe.
So with orca pipe, you're still actually burning physical leaves and stuff. because you actually have to take the actual tobacco and flavoring, everything, and still burn it on top of a coal. With vaporizing liquids, it's actually just the juice and the coil. They have a cotton surrounding the coil inside, and the juice gets pulled into that cotton. After that, it just actually heats up the juice to create vapor. So it's not actually smoke, it's actually just vapor from the liquid.
So I'm assuming yours is safer.
It's definitely safer. According to studies done by BBC UK, vaping is actually 95% safer than smoking cigarettes.
Okay. Michael, thank you very much for your time.
No problem, eh?